If you kept up with this series on how to find variance and standard deviation, I walked you through how to find variance and standard deviation when you are given raw data, when you are given data with frequencies, and now this time we're going to try to find variance and standard deviation when they give you grouped data. Okay, so take a look at question number 3. It says the distribution of the weights correct to the nearest kilogram of the members of a football club is shown in the following table. So now you have the weight in kilograms from 40 to 49, 50 to 59, 60 to 69, 70 to 79, and you have a frequency for each one. In this particular case, we don't know the actual raw data. We only have groups. The way you deal with groups when you don't have the actual raw data is that you're going to find the mid-interval value or the midpoint of each group. And the way you do that is simply to find the average. So right now, for 40 to 49, if you were to add 40 plus 49, I'm going to do it here for you. So 40 plus 49 is going to give you 89. And then 89 divided by 2, so that you can figure out the average, is going to be 44.5. So right here, the midpoint or the mid-interval value is 44.5. And you're going to do that for every single one of these groups. And that is going to be the data that you're going to be working with in order for you to find the mean, standard deviation, and variance, okay? So let's start first with the mean, since we can't figure out variance without it. So to figure out the mean, I'm going to take each midpoint, I'm going to multiply by the frequency. Once I went ahead and I wrote down every single mid-interval value, the midpoint, times its frequency, I'm going to divide by n. N is going to be the sum of the frequencies. So in this case, if you add 6 plus 18 is 24, 24 plus 14 is 38, plus 4 is 42. So in this particular case, n is equal to 42, which means that I'm going to divide everything by 42. So go ahead and take your calculator and figure out this answer. So in this particular case, the mean is approximately equal to 58.3. Once I know that the mean is approximately equal to 58.3, I can go ahead and do my chart to show my work for variance and standard deviation. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to list the midpoints. I'm going to subtract the midpoint minus the mean, just like I have in the past. I'm going to take that difference and I'm going to square it. Then I'm going to multiply those differences squared times the frequency. So I'm going to go ahead and list the midpoints: 44.5, 54.5, 64.5, and 74.5. I'm going to take each one of those values and I'm going to subtract the average, which we said was 58.3. Once again, you can do this in your graphing calculator by going to Stat Edit and entering your data in list 1 for the midpoints, and then taking list 2 and telling list 2 to take everything from list 1 and to subtract the 58.3 from it. If you don't know how to do that, I am going to put a link to a video where I go over a tutorial on how to use the graphing calculator so that you can go ahead and follow along on how to do this with your calculator. So the differences are negative 13.8, negative 3.8, 6.2, 16.2. I'm going to now take those differences and I'm going to square them. I get 190.44, 14.44, 38.44, 262.44. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and take each one of those values in that column and multiply it by its respective frequency. So the first frequency is 6, 18, 14, and then 4. So I'm going to take each one of those values and multiply by those frequencies. That gives me 1142.6, 259.92, 538.16, 1049.8. Again, we want to find the sum of that last column. So that is going to equal 2990.48. The variance is going to equal the sum, 2990.48, divided by the total, which is 42 values. And that's going to give me approximately 71.2. And then to figure out standard deviation, I have to take the square root of that number. If you keep the whole number that you have, 71.20190476 in the calculator, then you can go ahead and avoid as much as possible getting round off error. So then this is going to equal approximately 8.44. So that is my standard deviation. I really hope that these videos have helped you on how to show your work for standard deviation and variance in case you need to do those for your internal assessment. Good luck.